So now we are back at our second orientation video. In this one, I'm going to cover ChatGPT and basically what you need to do and how you go about getting it. It's free, but I want all of you, please to get on it and download the app, either to your phone or on your computer, like right away, because we need to get on it. I want to make sure you're comfortable and familiar with what we're doing. And so I need for you to download is Chat GPT. If you go Google it, it'll come up, and the company is called OpenAI. So when you go, they're the ones who own Chat GPT. So I've got it set up in here. So when you go into our module, and I'm going to show you this now and walk you through the process. This is our Canvas module for our class. And of course, here's the attendance check-in, and then here's some welcome stuff. And here's my office hour link. So when you want to make an appointment, and then here's basically the layout for the class for what we do from week to week. And then here's the sign up for ChatGPT. So all you do, and I'm going to click you through it so you can see what it looks like. So you click there, and then inside of here, here's where you begin the class, and then you just hear this open AI. This is the website. So you click on the link, and I'll click on it for you so you can see where it takes you. And here's where you just go in, and for those who don't, if you already have ChatGPT, you have to do nothing. If you do have if you don't have it, you have to sign up. If you do have it, you do nothing. So here you just click on sign up. And then here you can see, obviously, I have my own account already set up. And once you put your information in, create your account with your email address and your password, and that sets your account up. Okay. That's all you got to do to set the account up. And that'll allow you to get in. Now, to do what we're going to be doing in class, okay, this just gives you the layout about what you need to follow. When you go back to the module, and I'm going to go back to the module now, or try to go back to the module now. If it'll let me move this out of the way. Yeah, very good. Okay. Well, it's letting me go back. I think you're going to find this really, really interesting and engaging. Right below there, once you do your sign up, is the Chat GPT Sim stands for simulation, the simulation discussions. And there's 6 of them, one for each chapter of the book. And the first part here tells you the grading rubric, tells you how I grade you, and I will go there first before we get into it so you can see. So what gives you the A basically means that you sort of grasp the information. You were really thoughtful and reflective in your responses. You gave really good detailed responses in your thoughts and sharing your ideas regarding the questions that come up in the chapters. The B, of course, shows that you have basically a decent understanding of the context, but it wasn't outstanding, but you just gave some good information. The average means you did just enough adequate work to be able to provide good insights. Below average means that you were lacking. You really hadn't put any work into it, and it's obvious that you hadn't read the chapters that well or anything like that. And then failing means you basically did nothing. So please don't put yourself in that position. Here's how the grading's broken down. So 40% is based on your participation and your engagement. Means we're looking to see how well you engage with the other participants in the simulation. 30% is for your understanding of the course material, meaning that you've already looked at the books and you understand the context of the chapter. 3 is your critical thinking. So I'm looking to see how well you're able to critically think. And basically, I'm asking you what you think about the issues that we're talking about. And so for you to be able to sort of articulate that, 20% of your grade. And then the last part, 10% of your communication skills, how clear you are, just your ability to interact with all the other, again, participants in the simulation. And that's basically the grading rubric for the simulation, for the sim discussions. Okay, now I'm going to delve into and show you one of the examples of the simulation discussions. So now you've already signed up, so you're good to go. Again, you don't have to pay for ChatGPT 4 because that one they charge monthly for, which I do. But the free version is fine for you, and that's a version 3.5. Okay. Um, so I'm going to go and let me just jump into go to chapter 6. I'll just use this as an example. So you click on there, And inside of here, it gives you some instructions just to kind of, again, this is always the same in every single chapter. It starts off with the same information to show you how to get in. Here is the link for the chapter 6 discussion that we're going into. And what I do here also is I've created avatars for the people who are participating in the discussion. So in this one, the permanent participants are Sophia, Carlos, Ethan, and myself as Professor Epps. Yeah, I'm the handsome guy over to the right. Anyhow, but so Sophia, Carlos, and Ethan are virtual students. They're not real, but I've created them, and they are students just like you in this class. So and then here's you. The fingers pointing at you. That's you. And then our guest for this class, because this chapter is on the judicial system. I have brought in 3 Supreme Court justices to be able to be a part of our discussion. So you can see here we have one of them has already passed away. Justice Ruth Ginsburg is no longer alive, but I, what it does is it pulls all her information, everything she's done and said up until her death is basically inside of what ChatGPT now knows about her and Justice Roberts as well as Justice Sotomayor. And so they are going to be our participants in this discussion. Sophia, Carlos, and Ethan will be with us through every single chapter of this semester. I may change them next semester, but for this particular time, these are the permanent players. Sophia, Carlos, Ethan, you as the IVC student, and Professor Epps are the permanent guests in every single simulation. The other ones are changed depending on who and what we're covering. Okay. All right, so now let me take you to the fun stuff. And I hope you find it to be as interesting as I have, because I have been all over this stuff. Okay, so here you come in, you just click on the link, and that link will take you to ChatGPT, where if you're not already logged in, it will log you in. And it'll come to this page, and this is the discussion that I've set up, Chapter 6 discussion. Now, if you saw in there where it said all you have to click to start is you click Let's Play, and that's right here. So you click Let's Play, and it comes up with, and it says, great, welcome everyone to our Chapter 6 simulation on Judicial Branch. I'm Professor Epps, and I'm thrilled to have you join me for this live lead sim discussion, blah, blah, blah. And it says we're fortunate to have Supreme Court Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, and Chief Justice John Roberts with us. Before we dive in, I want you, the IVC student, who's the real student, to introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself. And I have it do some fun stuff, almost like a kind of a funny groundbreaking. So I'll tell you so I'll put some information. I'll say, hi, I'll say, my name is Rick, which it is. um, let's see, it says, what does it say? Let's see. So with your college major, I'll say I'll just throw out, I'm a history major. Let's put history. I'm a history major. I'm a history major. Let's comma this, and then I'll say your favorite food. My favorite food is, I'll say shrimp, which it probably is. I love shrimp. Um, Shrimp is my favorite food. And you can even like abbreviate, say my fave food, for example. You can say it like that. So it will figure out what it is you're trying to say. And then I'll say a fun fact. I'll say, see, I was a state wrestling champ uh, in high school. You can put anything here that's your favorite fact about yourself. There's something fun, funny, or silly, or whatever, right? Okay. And then I just he can either hit enter or hit the button, or you can hit the arrow here, right? Either way, I just hit return. And then it comes back and says, thank you for sharing, Rick. It's great to have state wrestling champ in our midst. Your passion for history will definitely add depth to our discussion today. And then when you scroll, sometimes you may have to just scroll up yourself. If it doesn't do it itself, just scroll up. Uh, And so it goes on. Now let's talk to your other participants. So Sophia, could you introduce yourself? So Sophia, who's a virtual student that is created by me for ChatGPT, it just goes, absolutely, Professor Epps. Hi, my name's Sophia, blah, blah, blah. Then Ethan also introduces himself. Carlos introduces himself. And then, of course, Professor Epps is responding to each one of them. And then he welcomes Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and all the other justices. Um, and then so Ginsburg says, of course, Professor Epps, I'm Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. In my role, I focus on ensuring that our interpretation of the law uphold the values of justice, equality. Outside the courtroom, I enjoy opera immensely. And it even has them do something about themselves. Like I said, I'm also passionate about children's literacy. And down below here, Justice Roberts, I'm known for my efforts to maintain the court's independence and integrity. And then, so right then Professor Epps goes, great, okay, so thank you very much for this information. Let's get started. And then it goes, okay, so Rick, as our IVC student, you'll give your name, so your name will be in here instead of as the IVC student. You'll kick off the questioning, so or question or answer the question. So here's our first question: can someone explain the concept of judicial review and its significance in the American legal system? Um, and so and it starts out, Rick, but if this could be you though, what are your thoughts? And then they'll open to others. So I could just say something like, I'll just play it off and say, um, I think judicial review is super important. Now, this is not going to give me an A because I'm not going to give any more information than that, but I just want you to see what happens. And you can hit period, okay? And I didn't say why, I just kind of stuck it in there. So here's what happens. Then it comes back and says, this is Professor Epps. Absolutely, Rick. Judicial review is indeed crucial, blah, blah, blah. Justice Ginsburg comes back and says this, and then they all give their take on it, right? And then it comes back and says, it comes back to you because it's looking for after you've read what everybody else has said, it's asking you, do you have any other comments? Because you may have now gained more information to now provide a more detailed response to the conversation. And I will say none at this time. None at this time. Thanks. Now imagine this is like you having a real conversation. So then you say thanks, hit that, and then it will go to the next question. There are approximately 4 questions for each chapter that you'll be interacting with, where you'll be a part of the discussion. There are 4 different themes, and it'll go through 4 things. So now it goes to the next question. Okay, let's move on to the next question. How does the Supreme Court work with other 2 branches of government? Rick, what's your take on this? And then we'll open it up to so then you go through, let's say if you put in, I don't know. I say it this hypothetically, so I don't really know. No problem, Rick. It's a complex topic. And then it goes through and it will then give you some information to help you understand it. And then once that happens, it'll come back to you and say, okay, so now that you've learned from understood what everybody has said about this, but you want to comment on it. And what I'm looking for is those comments. I'm looking for you to have some real in-depth comments on how what you've learned about this. Hopefully you will have already read it in the book before you get here, because that's the key. As I mentioned before, you want to look at the textbook, you can look at the PowerPoints, my lecture, you can go a lot of places to be able to get information that are going to help you participate in the simulation. Now, once you get to the 4th one, right, and there's 4 of these, then at the end, what happens is you will save this and send me the link. So let me see if I have something open I can go to already and show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is one. This is from chapter 6. This is one that I completed earlier. And normally, what happens at the end, you'll get this little up in the right hand corner. You'll get this little icon up here, and this is what you want to send to me. So what you'll do is you'll copy it. You can either click the little copy button there, or you can highlight it, highlight it. And then what you'll do is you'll go back into the sim discussion. And then in here, when you go back to your, let me get back into my, so if you're in Sim 6, the discussion, all you'll do is the way you submit it, you'll see inside of here, you would just copy. Let me see if I can get in and show you. It may not let me in yet because the class hasn't officially started. Let me see if it'll show the student view. Yeah, okay. It's locked still. But inside of the student view, all you do is copy and paste that link to then that'll send it to me. Then that'll send it, submit it to me, and that way, what I'll do is I'll go back in and I'll evaluate the discussion. Now, what's going to happen is, and I'm working on this now, is that the grading rubric. So, for example, let me show you how this could work, just to give you an idea what the grading rubric looks like. So, if I go back here again, and let's say, and I'm just going to take the grading rubric here just to give you an idea of how this works for me and why it's important that you understand, because you'll be able to find out your grades fairly quickly. I'd have to go through and rewrite the code a little bit, but I think it'll do it pretty quickly. So I can basically tell it, um, I can take this information and if I go back in here and I say, please, and this is something you wouldn't see, but I would have it in here that it would just launch automatically. Uh, please evaluate. And I can say IVC student. I'll say IVC student. No, actually, no, no, I'll put the name. Let's do it this way. I'm kind of playing with this as I have you watching. Please evaluate Rick's contribution uh, in the sim discussion using the following grade rubric. Then it's going to tell me, certainly, let's evaluate. So it goes through, tells you basically if you contributed, overall criteria, rich performance evaluations, it was commendable, he engaged, blah, blah, blah. Now, if I plug in the scoring and I let it do the scoring, now let's see what it comes up with. Let's see. Overall, his performance is A minus, B plus, excellent to above average. Okay. So that's again, that's because what I did in mine, in this particular one, you didn't see it already, but in mine, I went really detailed when I did mine, just playing around with it last night. So that's why it says A minus, B plus. The other one, if I took the one I just did, I'm sure it would have been probably a C or a D because I really think I just I don't really know. And by the way, if you ever do, I don't really know. As long as you come back with something detailed and in really in depth, it's very forgiving that way. I just looking to see that you are engaged in the discussion and actively participating. Now, here's the other thing. So then once you're done, like all you do, this is what you'll normally see at the top when you're done with all this. You click save and then you click confirm. And then once you click confirm, and by the way, let me go to save again. I want you to make sure that you want to make sure it's not just set to only me. It has to be anyone with the link. You don't want to be public, but anyone with the link, which means me, will be able to access it. Then you click confirm, and then when you say you want to view the GPT, that means you're reviewing it. Um, it should take you. Okay, let me back up from there. Sorry. Okay, so let's save it again. So save, confirm. Oh, because I've already given my name. So you confirm, and then it gives you the link, and that's where you click here to copy it, and then that's where you go back to the simulation, to where the simulation is in Canvas, and you paste it in there, It'll have your name on it, so make sure you put your name on it, and then that will send it to me, and then I'll be able to evaluate you. And what I do is I'll review the evaluation that it's the parameters that I set up that it already gave you a grade or a score. I will reevaluate and see if I agree with it, and if I will, I'll post it, and if not, I will adjust it. Um, so it's not, even though it's running itself, I always go through and check all the student grades and make sure that they're within reason. But I like it because it does give you the ability to be able to look and assess and know how you did and why you got the score you got, like how well you performed in the simulation. Okay. So pretty cool stuff. I didn't mean for this to go quite as long, but it's a lot to look at. But I wanted to give you sort of a full exposure to it, and I'm excited for you to try it. You can't break it, so don't worry about it. If you go through and you need to practice or do it a little bit, it's perfectly fine to do that. So don't worry about it, okay? We're going to try it. We're going to work with it and see what we can get it to do. And hopefully everybody is really engaged in this, 'cause I think it's going to be pretty darn amazing. Okay. All right, you guys. That's it. Have a good one.